Heidi, hi. I think I'm ready. I'm just going to hang on 2 minutes to see if anybody else is going to come and chat. And then we'll get playing. It's been ages since I played with the jelly plate. I've been itching to get it out, but I've just been so busy. So busy. Hi, Jane. How's your week been, lovely? Oh dear. That time of night. Lately, this time last year, I was at the stage where I'm just going to do paper crafting. Everything else can just wait till I've got time and things like that. Hi, Donna. This year, it's like my house has exploded into a million different obsessions of craft. Hi, Brenda. Right, jelly plate tonight. I've been itching to play with my new wildflowers stencils. Look how clean the star. We are about to change this. How rude, Jane, having to work. Isn't it awful when real life gets in the way of working? Hi, Sheila. Heidi, hi. Right, shall we just get started and playing? I've got acrylic paints to work with. I do love acrylic paints on the jelly plate. I do also love alcohol, and you can also use the ink pads. I'm going to actually start off with the ink pad, and then I'm not going to get paint all over them. I'm going to use the Pretty Colours and Side by Stamps by Me, just because they're absolutely lovely. When I'm jelly printing, I always keep scrap paper to the side of us, of some, that's not scrap paper, is it? Of some shape or form. Sometimes it turns out brilliant, you can die cut with it and get some fabulous shapes. Other times it just becomes an absolute mess and it goes in the bin. That's true, Jane, that is true. These things have to happen to play with the obsession. Hi, Kelly. Kelly, I'm sorry, I've seen your message too late. I'm about tomorrow though, so give us a shout. Useless. Honestly, I've gone through the past month where I've just been completely useless at social media and everything else. But I'm up the eyes in resin, jewellery making. I've got a pair of shoes behind us, which I'm going to paint. You name it. Obviously, my son, he's still around, so I need to look after him. The bird, life, you know. I'm going to start off with, we're going to go orange and green, because there's still a few leaves on the trees, and we're going to go in with the leafy stencil and just see if we can make something leafy, because the orange and the green together will make the brownie colours. I want to get some dabs and dibs and dabs. Hi. You all right, Maureen? My adopted mom. Move some stuff. Look, it's all caving in, man. There's just too much stuff. So you don't have to get super dirty with the jelly plate. You can actually just use your ink pads. Me, I like to make as much mess as I possibly can. So with this, I'm going to put it on the stencil, right? And this is how all my stencils get so dirty, because I just love making a mess. Hi, Amanda. So this is going to be the first print that comes off. And it's okay. It's not wonderful, but you can still use it, die cut out with it, die cut leaves out with it. That could be the start of a really cool background if you put alcohol inks all over it. Because it's a water reactive ink pad, if you put alcohol inks over it, it's not going to move too much. Now, this, if you put anything over the top of this, it will move. And, well, move and go mushy. You'll lose the pattern of it a bit. If you want that effect, cool, spritz a little bit water on. If you don't, you're going to get a completely cool pattern like that. What you can do now, though, is a light spritz over your jelly plate, because not much can hurt the jelly plate apart from heat and sharp things. Let's not do that. Hi, Caroline. And you will get another print. Very faint one, but it's called a ghost print. But again, don't waste your ink. I'm going to put this one back on and I'm going to spritz the back of the stencil. And you will get another print, like a stamped image. I'm just going to use the back of this because I'll use the glittery side when I come to it. So spritzing it and you'll get like a stamped image, which will give like a really cool mottled effect. So there's loads of different, you'll never ever have to waste your ink. Never, ever, ever. Not with these. But this is where you can start to layer. If you did alcohol inks, then you can still layer on top with your acrylics and things like that. But acrylics is where you kind of get the most out of it, your jelly plate, because you can start layers and just keep layering up so much. So this one here is a Dina Wakley media acrylic. You can use any kind of acrylic. Yes, Amanda, I completely agree. I've still got ink off the ink pads on the brayer, so we're going to get a really kind of dirty turquoise, but that's fine. And what I'll do is I'll stick this on top because we'll still get some ink come off it. And I'll take another print. The paper I use for this is a printer paper. I don't usually use this printer paper. This one's a super smooth one that I find working with alcohol inks and things on is lovely. But I wouldn't usually use it. I just couldn't get any. I didn't have any of the other left. So again, that's another print. You can start that as a background, cut it down, make notelets, pull it apart and make words collage with it. So many different things. Now I've got that, which is the turquoise. I'm going to leave the stencil on and I'm going to find a green, which I had before, which I've now lost. Of course I have. There it is. Oh no. There it is. And this is a golden. This one is a fluid acrylic. I like working with fluid acrylics on the jelly plate, but you can use anything. You can use your heavy bodied, you can use your medium bodied. I will show both. I've got heavy body here. Your heavy body means it's thicker. Your fluid obviously means it's more runny. And most acrylics will tell you if they are opaque or if they are transparent. This one here is a golden one, and because you can still see the black lines underneath it, it's a semi-transparent, so you can see through it. The red's even more transparent, you can see more of the black through it. Other ones are opaque. It just depends. You just learn as you go. The GSM paper I'm using now is 160, but sometimes 100's fine. 100's absolutely fine. Now, I'm going to let that, actually no I'm not, I'm going to lift it straight off and we'll see, and then we can leave the next layers because I've got all sorts of rounders that we're going to use. So this is just your basic one layer of your lighter, the stencil on, take a print, leave the stencil on and go back on, and you're going to get like the two tones. I like the print that comes off when you clean your jelly plate, your brayer on the back. I really like that. Acrylics I used. Yes, you do get a slight texture with your heavy-bodied acrylics, and they can dry quite quick. With the jelly plate, it sometimes means that, obviously if it's a warm day, things are going to dry quite quick. But I'll leave the paper on there for it to dry. If my paper rips a little bit, it doesn't bother us too much at all. Your fluid acrylics do stay wet a smidge longer, but play with how much you put on. A little bit more, a little bit less, and see how you get on. There is a fine line between having... See, I can't even say too much because you get some really, really cool effects when you do smudge the colours. I mean, it's quite muddy underneath because I still had the ink pads on, but that there is a really, really cool background. And get your gel pens in. And then just inside the lines, just go in And they don't have to be perfect. Sometimes the more imperfect that it is, the better. I'll lift it up. Hi, Dominique. What you can also get is, if you've got fluid acrylics, you can get loads of different mediums. You can get a thinning medium, which can be like your acrylic fluids, and your matte medium. You can get a glossy. Do you want us to put some links up for different ones? Actually, next week what I could do is I'll pull out all the different things I've got. So I've got a thickener, I've got a thinner, and all the different things do different things with acrylics. You can mix your acrylics with texture pastes. You can mix your water-based ones as well. But if you mix an acrylic medium with an acrylic paint, you're going to get a full-on acrylic stronger effect. The mind boggles. I mean, I'm pretty much self-taught. It's different things I've listened to. It's different things I've seen. This one here is Payne's Grey, and this is like a really dark blue-black grey. It started off as a really, really dark navy blue, which I said, and the whole thing started off with my obsession with colour, believe it or not. So there you can see, this one's quite a grey. They changed it over time from like a blue grey to a more grey. You can get a Davies grey, which is your dark. Honestly, it goes on and on and on. And I can waffle about it for days. I really can. So if you would like us to do that and just go through all the different things that you can do with acrylics. The acrylics I used. I don't mind them feeling coarse. I quite like that textured effect. Right, no bother. See, I really do quite like the textured effect, and I like it when you go over it with pencils and things. You get like a scratchy look. And that there. Start doodling your bright colours around that. Your bright blues, your bright yellows. You can work with your watercolours over the top of it and it won't move at all. Now, alcohol ink over acrylic does start to break down acrylic after a while. On the paper, you can use it. It probably won't affect it at all. On the jelly plate, if you had your acrylic ink, your acrylic paint, and then you put your alcohol ink over the top and you left it, you wouldn't get such a crisp effect underneath it. Right, so acrylics next week. Somebody needs to remind us, and I'll pull it all out. I've got a box underneath the table, which I've been quite frightened to go. Oh, I won't leave that on, actually. Been quite frightened to go under for spiders, but I will do it for yous. I'm going to start off. This one's a thick one. It's not totally heavy bodied, but it is thicker. Actually, I'll put it on a bit thicker, like that, and I'll show you. Now, it does slide a little bit, and you probably won't get such a crisp effect underneath. See, that'll be really, really thick underneath there. So when I pull the print off, it will leave quite a bit of it, and you might not get such a good effect there. I'll do a thin bodied one. Hold on, I might have to take the lid off this one. Your fluid. Oh. See, I like the thick texture ones as well with the your texture knife. Your spatula, because you can get some lovely effects, some very, very, very nice mixed media textures and things. And you can get your pumice stone to go endless. And artists have had all these lovely tools for so long. Then crafters come along and start to use them. Right, so I'm going to lift that off now. And you'll see this bit here, I won't get such a crisp effect. But again, it will leave a cool effect, and you'll probably get 2 prints out of it. It's a lot to take in if you're not used to using them, and so on and forth. And there's so many fabulous YouTubers, on YouTube. So many fabulous artists that you can learn. Once you get lost in it, that's it. Right, I think it's going to stay. See, See, you still get quite a bit. And the effect up here, you get like a lift and it leaves like little ripples. I really, really love that effect. But here you don't get as much, you get a more mottled effect. Sometimes once you get the gist of how much you should put on and how little you should put on, things like that, you learn as you go. You see by the print of what you want to put on. But just learn as you go. Really, this one here will come off on the second print. You don't need to worry about that. This is what gives all your prints that really unique print, really, because you have all this going on. Now, that's just with your stencils. What I've got here with us now is art foamies. They're a foam stamp, and I've gotten these from Sarah, Funky Fossil Sarah, her website. I love them. I've got loads of them. I've got loads in the shed. Love them. They're really hard to get in this country, and Sarah is the main supplier of them in the UK. So if you want any, that's where you've got to go. They're fabulous on fabric. They're fabulous for making art journals. They're fabulous on the jelly plate, like beyond fabulous. And I'm going to start off with, I don't know what I'm going to start off with because I've got so many toys I haven't played with for ages. I'm actually going to start off with a grey again. We're going to start off with, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a palette, which in this case is paper for me because I'm using my little palette for my jelly plate. And all I'm going to do is brayer the ink onto this, and it's a text. And I think it's quite an old text. I've had these since the brand day. So I've got them off Sarah's website and pretty much ordered it. Bring them with you. Like that, and it's going to leave a textured effect behind it. So this is where you can start building up like your old dictionary pages and things like that. You do want to wash these after. Jane, hours and hours and hours. This is right up my street, all this messy mixed media stuff. I do love making cards. I do love my art journal. I love to jelly plate in my art journal. All these prints, I've got loads of them. Loads and loads of them. I've actually got some made up to be made into a paper pad. So if you don't want to do it yourself, or you like what I do, you can get them and you can already use them without getting it all over your mitts. I want to go in with an orange and a brown and make a rusty page. So this is dry, this layer pretty much dry here of the letters. I am in my element, can you tell? I've been waiting for this because life has been busy. Like, everybody seems to want us. And not in the fun way of this. I could do this forever. All day, every day. And I'm going to pop a little bit brown on there as well if I've got some left. I think we're down to the dregs. We are down to the dregs. Let's see if I've got this one. This one's an indigo blue acrylic. And these are matte acrylics. You can get different effects of acrylics. You can get matte, you can get shiny. On and on and on. It's a never-ending rabbit hole. The art foamies are from Funky Fossil, funkyfossil.co.uk. Art foamies is, hold on, let's hope nothing falls, brace yourself. Art foamies is an American brand. I'm sure they are Canadian. I want to say Canadian. Oh, I'm sorry, I've shook the camera. I want to say Canadian, but I could be completely wrong. It doesn't actually say. But Sarah is a UK supplier of them. You can use with inks, glazes, watercolour, acrylic paints and more. It says star flat. I should have read that. Rinse with water. Don't scrub because you will break them, the foam. They're just fabulous. She'll get this one out as well. I haven't paid for this one yet. Yeah, funkyfossil.co.uk. So I've got brown, I've got orange, and I've got like a rusty tan colour on there as well. And they're both fluid and heavy body acrylics. So you can mix them together as well. There's me lovely clean mat, very unclean. And then I'm going to put a stencil over the top of that and lift some off. So let's pick this one. So I did replace Actually, no. No, I won't. I did replace the one I cut up. I'm not completely mean when I use this one. I'm not going to lift it all up. I just want to lift a little bit up off it. Like that. So just a little bit, just taking a bit off, and then lift that straight up. And then I'm going to take the print, don't know where I'm putting stuff, straight off and lift it off and see what happens. The lady, as in Carmen Miranda lady, this one. Carmen Miranda is a miraculous woman. You need to look her up. She's an artist. What she went through in her life, mind. Nowadays, we wouldn't be able to cope with it. Carmen Miranda. Wonderful artist. I love her art. Yeah, I don't know where Sarah is. Actually, she normally pops in. Probably busy. So now we have a really rusty effect. But you can see the texture coming through. And you can still see some of the flower pattern. Can we see? I hold it still instead of shaking it about. Yeah, she's really, really fabulous. I've done a video on her, Maureen, if you want to go back and watch. So you can see this text coming through. I think it's that way up. Coming through. And then you've got the rusty colours. So if you tear this down, or you've got cog stamps, I'm pretty sure Imala did like old clocks and cogs and things. They would go really good with this. Never ending. Should we go for something bright? And I'll go in with some pink. And I've lost my white. What I really should say is I've lost my brain. Purple. Because I'm not looking for the white. I'll drive you all crazy looking for stuff all night. And again, we've still got some of that text and some of the rusty stuff going on. And you know what? When I come to doing the shoes, I might just go live on YouTube and just sit and do them instead of waffling at you. And you can pop in and out if you want to. And see what I'm up to. With this one, because I haven't actually used any acrylic paint on it as yet, I'm going to go over with the pretty colours inside and just see what happens. Because you can't hurt it. So, pretty colours. I'm using the blue. There. And this one here, don't forget, you can actually just stamp ordinary with these and they leave a lovely thick line. In fact, I'm sure I've shown in the back of an art journal where I've been playing. Look at that. It's fabulous. And that's right up my street. I've doodles like this all over the place. Hundreds of doodles. I love to doodle. Actually, if you wait and see what's coming next year for Thirsty Brush, it might just blow your mind what I've been up to. Me and Tony have worked together on something as well, which has turned out to be pretty cool. It's the best of Tony with an added bit of me and a little bit, yeah, I think it's going to be fun. You have to watch the space for that one. Are you ready for this? This is going to knock your socks off. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Look at that. And you can still see some of the text coming through. You can see the rusty colours. You can see mainly purple because I smushed it all together, but it's still cool. And then the blue over the top. I can't, Amanda. You should see what I've been up to. You should see the state of my room. It looks like someone's come in to paint and hide a grenade into hundreds of pots of paint and paper. It's crazy behind us. And you can just go on and on and on. And now we've still got this here off before, which will stay on. And then I'm going to add turquoise over the top. A little bit of turquoise, which is heavy body. And a little bit of yellow, which again is heavy body. Yeah, Brenda, it's really, really, really cool. And again, with the jelly pit, you can have plenty control. Like there, you don't have to smush it all together. I can keep the yellow and the turquoise apart and get a really good blend. But again, you don't have to leave it at that. Let's find something else with Let's find something else. Don't know what else to use. Oh, we've got this one. This one's a cool one. This one is a mask. When it's cut out like this, it's called a mask. You can still use it as a stencil, obviously. But masks are really, really cool on the Gelli plate for this reason. You haven't got an outline to it. So over the top of this one, if you want, you could leave it like that if you don't want to add any more. But sometimes when you're layering up, more is more. I'm going to lift that up, take it off. So you can see what I mean? You can see different patterns going on. And all of this around it is messy. You would cut that down so you would only get like a certain patch of it. You would pick out your favourite. And then on top of this one, I'm going to go in with a really, really, really dark blue. And this is a really heavy body. This is Liquitex. And you can see how heavy it is. And this is where you might get your texture from. See, lifting up, you get like a texture. It's like a acrylic paste texture, but not as thick. There's your dark blue all over. And when you lift that up, you're going to see the bright underneath it. And acrylic paint won't hurt your stencils. If you're obsessed with it and it really gets to you about having them clean, just pop them in the sink with a bit of washing up liquid. It's not going to hurt them. Pastes and things like that will block any little holes, so you do need to really wash them after that. I always need a craft buddy. You'll never get in the room, mind. You'll have to step over everything. I've got beads, I've got charms, I've got pastes, I've got fabrics, shoes. I said before, never ending. Lovely time. And this one, you're going to get such a pop of colour going on behind the blue. But again, you don't have to leave it like that. If you find it's too dark, start working over with white. So if I can locate this white, which is going to drive us insane until I find it now. This is what happens when I type you up. There's my shoe. Hold on, I'll move some bits. See if it's in here. Just one moment. What's that? I didn't find white, but I did find a couple of other colours. Where is it? Oh, I did find my heat tool and everything in the kitchen the other night, you know. I was on Thirsty Brush Facebook page and I couldn't find anything. There. I'm going to use gesso. This is a white. This is a primer. It's an acrylic primer, so hopefully it'll work. And it's white. We'll just go with it and see what happens. The contrast of the colours and things that you can get, but don't forget you can actually work over with brighter colours, your whites. You can even paint over it and just leave a tiny little patch. If you want to clean your Gelli plate as well, this is how I would do it. I would just pop a bit of white over it, and this is going to lift anything off. Keep that page because you'll find you get some absolutely stunning results. I'll show you quickly how we'll clean it and then we'll play a bit more. You can use your die cuts. I've got some of the owls, the Thirsty Brush Christmas range. I'm going to Gelli plate onto the owls and then paint over the top of them. And because it's a stamped image, I've got one that's stamped actually to show you. I think it's a feather. I've got one coloured in. Pop in there. Let's find him. This would be driving Tony insane. She'll make you watch in the background, shaking her head and shaking because of the mess. I can't find it. Anyway, we're going to do the owl. Oh, there it is. So I've done it with that because a lot of acrylics are opaque. It would probably cover the stamped image. But because we have the Eureka, we can easily go back in and stamp onto the die cuts. And this here is lifting off. Clean Gelli plate, but you get this really cool effect. And it's quite minimalist, and they look a bit like stars here. So you could have a DL card here and a totally different one here. Am I making sense to everybody in any way, shape or form? Like that, right. Also, what I did mention was, from the Perfectly Imperfect range, I did a really cool set of background stamps, dies. What you can do is bring them in to the Gelli plate, and you can do this on funky foam with any of the Thirsty Brush ones, and I'm going to say probably any of the Stamps by Me dies as well, because I don't think Tony's as precious as some people. You do need to ask permission for other brands though to do this. A lot of brands don't allow it. For me, it's fine. Use your everything out of your stash. Go crazy. Enjoy. That's what you bought it for. That's what I would want to do with it. And first and foremost, I'm a crafter. I want to get the most of it. So I'm going with this. This one is a Jane Davenport acrylic. Ugh. Which is like separated. We'll give it a stir. You need to shake your acrylics, I think. Take that off, actually. Because, I don't like it. That's just what they're mixing with the acrylics. You just need to mix it together. Right, I think this time we'll go with the turquoise and a purple. And I'm going to lift some off. There we go. Much better. And I'm going to lift some off using the die cuts as well with funky foam. And it's very similar to the art foam. It's not quite as good. And not quite as good as using the proper tools and things. But you do get some very interesting effects. Oh, just pull it down and smoosh it around a little bit. It's still got some of that weird greasy stuff on. The carrier. Pop that over here. I'm making a fine old mess. Oh, I like this. I might have to keep that because you could stamp flowers onto that one. And it would look really nice. Turn it over so I can keep it. On this one, right, these are the dies. All I've done is a layer of the funky foam. Oh, bye, Brenda. I'll pop pictures on. Yes. And again, this, you can stamp with this as well. Go wild. I've got the alphabet. Now, what I've done, because that alphabet will be on upside down, I've put it on the other way around on the other side. And it'll come out the right way up on the Gelli plate, I think. I think I've done it the right way around. You'll work it out. You're all a bit cleverer than me. Brenda, if not, you can always come back and watch the end. We are about 34 minutes in. 32 minutes in. If I forget, because I am a bit useless. Don't forget to share the live and things though as well. Sharing's caring and all that. And come back and comment after. Because it's always good for me if you do. Watch this. And this is just off your die cuts. And I have getting the wrong ones upside down. On the other side it would have been better. But that is really cool. Because again, you could have done that in black. And it would have had a really big pop. This one, again, cut it down. You're going to see a completely different image. Tear it. And you just have a strip of it. So it's like your washi tape. Go crazy. Go crazy. This one, what we can do is we can actually... Because once you've got these, if you've got funky foam, you could stamp a few of them. So it doesn't matter if they break. It's just cardboard box I've mounted them onto. So I'm going to pop a bit of that down, which is like dark purple. And I'm going to brayer it on to here. Oh. And onto the Gelli plate. That won't matter. Again, as well, I think the Gelli plate takes you out of your comfort zone a little bit. If you're very perfect about your craft and the Gelli plate, you never know what you're going to get when you lift it. You kind of have to chill out a bit and just enjoy the process. So now we've got some flowers going on. This will need to dry. I will waft it a bit to see if I can get it to dry quicker. But I want to leave it purple, but I want to put a really contrasting colour over the top because purple's a really funny colour to mix with anything. I want to put a yellow over the top, so I'm going to waft it with a bit of card. Is there any questions anybody needs us to answer as we go? Or I'll try and answer. If I can't, I'll find somebody who can. There's so many more people so much better on the Gelli plate who are wonderful, basically. And you take snippets from all the videos that you watch, all the mixed media, all the watercolour, and you develop your own way of doing things. You find out different things the more you practice. And really, when you think of the amount of paint that you're using, it's tiny, tiny amounts. Even if it goes totally wrong, it's usually just on a printer paper. You can even use like really, really thin printer paper, and then when you put it on, you can get a, if you put it over a really dark image, you're going to be able to see the image coming through. You can use watercolour, Sheila. On Thirsty Brush, the Facebook page, I did a full thing on using watercolours on the Gelli plate. What I did was, what I found, because you can get like really watercolory cool backgrounds and things, but to get a more crisp effect was I used matte medium, a clear acrylic matte medium on the gel plate first, let it dry, and then I went over with your watercolour sprays, your watercolour paints, things like that. You can even stamp an image on your Gelli plate, paint it, and then take the print off. You can image transfer as well. I'm not very good at that. I will give it a go though, because I'm not precious about it going wrong. But I've done the Gelli plate so many times on the Thirsty Brush Facebook page with different things that I've learned, and I've found out that if you go back, all the videos are there. Some of them I did start after a while, once I learned how to put a headline on so you know what it is. Yes, if you don't want it to smoosh together, dry between layers. It doesn't take very long. Maybe it's a bit longer in the winter. But if you've got your heating on, scary word. If you've got your heating on, it shouldn't take too long because you can just pop them on the radiator. Or work on your next print. If you've got a couple of Gelli plates, like I've got a really, really big one, you can get them right down to teeny tiny ones. You can just keep going. Or work on prints you've done before, adding different layers to them. Forever. I'm not on Facebook. Yes, Jane, I don't know how to get the videos off Facebook onto YouTube. There is a way. I did know for like 5 minutes, but I'm forgetting. But what I will do is I will come back and I will show more. Next week we'll do acrylics though. And basically what I'll do is I'll just have bits of paper and I'll have some dried bits for you with different pastes and things like that. And I'll explain, like this one I've just getting, I haven't actually tried it yet. But this one here, it's the it's a thickening one. Condense. I don't know what it's called. I'm just getting it to try though. But I have got a Talon's version of it. Yeah, I'll absolutely go through it again, Jane. No problem at all. I'm trying to think what else I've got. I'll have to go under the table and get them really, ideally. But I will go through it all, I promise. This one here, oh. I maybe it's when I chose that purple. But again, you've got a pretty plain background paper, which you can bring in different elements. And again, essentially making your own background papers. I love papers. Oh, I've got Tony's. There. Perfect. Straight away, you've got a card. Cut the rubbishy edges off. And it's done. Bring in your stamped images. You can still see some of the die cut prints that I've done coming in behind off the Gelli plate. I mean, I won't ever stop buying other people's papers and things, even though I can make my own with the Gelli plate. I can do my own. The ones I've designed from start to finish. The girls in the office are just tidying them up for us. Ongoing, never-ending supply of different things. If you like it, hang on. Actually, I've got a spray. I want to take my cardigan off because I've got it off my mum. I'll get wrong. Take it off in case I spray anything on it. It really is a summery background. And I'm sorry, but I know it's winter, but I like the summer. Right, let's find the matte medium, which is here. So this is, I'll just do it quickly with the watercolour. This is Liquitex, and it's acrylic medium. They do all sorts. This is a professional one. You can get cheaper versions of it. I bought this when it was on offer. So what I would do is, it's clear, it's matte. You can get shiny ones, a bit like the gel medium that I've showed you. You can use that as well. You won't need much at all. It's lasting me forever, and I use loads of it. And then it's just a thin layer on. all over. That will dry. You can go in with a second layer if you want to. Hang on, let's grab some. I don't know if that's a watercolour. Whilst this drying, I'll just grab a few watercolours. That one is I've just stuck my arm, and I might have to, hang on, I'll put another layer on. I might have an arm-shaped missing bit. Like I say, it really doesn't, you're putting that thinner layer on, it does not take long to dry. With it being transparent, you're not going to affect anything at all. Watercolour sprays. Sorry, I am here just hunting for stuff. Right, water-based sprays. We'll waft it. Can you see any of my table yet? I love having a complete collection because, do you know when you get a bit, I want to craft, but I don't know what to do. Then you kind of pick them up and you can pull them apart, pull bits out. Even a colour might inspire you to try something a little bit different. And this is why I love the art journals as well, because this is when I can just play. All your prints and things, you know, the mini books and stuff that I've made. I've used the prints for them. A lot of the giveaways I've done, I've actually made, and I've give the papers away. I've give prints away. In fact, if you come back and comment after the live, I'll leave it for a couple of weeks because for some reason YouTube stopped giving us the lives, like comments under the lives, which is why I haven't been able to do a giveaway. But I'll leave it for a couple of weeks and see if it pops up, and I will give some away to somebody. If I cannot give it away by the comments, I'll think of another way. See, that's dry now. And then we'll go over with the grey. Let's see, on the poppies. Let's see if this, turn it because I want to sit quite flat. On the poppies, so it is grey. It's not going to be very colourful. It doesn't move as much. So you're going to get this outline. Now with watercolours, normally it would all just smoosh together really, really quick. With, I've got no space. I don't want to fall in it. This you're going to get, it's still going to move, it's still going to be a watercolour effect, but you're going to be able to see exactly like an outline. Still, it will be watercolory, it won't be perfect, but this bit up here, you're still going to get the outline, and that is with the matte medium. There's still some on there. I'll get some watercolour paint. Hold on. I've got a plan. I've got a plan coming on. Right, this teddy, this is an art for me. Now, what I'll do is I'll use a dark acrylic paint, and I'm going to stamp onto the jelly plate because there's still matte medium on it. And then I'm going to watercolour it in effect. Let's just... Right, just cross your fingers I've got enough paint on because I've got too much mess now. Yeah, we can kind of see it. We'll get the gist of it. I will do it properly again. This is just the gist of it. Taking a watercolour brush. You don't want too much water on it because that won't be totally dry yet. And we'll go in with a little bit of brown on the bay. And you can see it sort of stays, it doesn't wick out too much. And where the gel medium has, I can't see that flower very well. You'll get the gist of it. You'll have more time when you're not. Where the gel medium has actually come off, you'll see it start to move. I don't know if I can lift it up to show you. You can see there, that's where the gel medium is, where it's sort of staying on properly. This bit here, it's sort of, what's it called, where it repels it a bit. And it's got this bit and it's staying. You won't ever get your perfect effect like you usually do. You can see where it's come off and where it's stayed. But you can go on here with the likes of distress crayons. You can draw on them with that as well, and that'll work with the matte medium. And then if we give it a little spritz, we can lift that up as well. You get some very, very cool watercolour effects as well. You can see what I'm talking about, having the different... Could you tell me again what was the base? It's matte medium. This is it. You can get all different brands of it, but matte medium or acrylic medium will do. It doesn't have to be like the runny one, but again, you can mix this with your acrylic paints if you find the drying too quick. You can pop a little bit on your mat at the same time and it will keep your acrylic paints wet that little bit longer. You can get matte, you can get shiny, I think there's a bit in the middle. You can get it in a paste, so it's really, really thick. And I've got one down here, heavy. This is it, your heavy body gel, which again is an acrylic base. It's the same as the one I've just showed you, but this is glossy and thick. It's also an awesome glue, so if you're doing collage, you can use it for that. Maureen, you have some. You've got some. I've seen it. You've showed us. And there. You'll see this better. So you lift the crayon up. You can see here where it's kind of stayed in where the matte medium was, and here where it's sort of wicked out. But again, if you don't like the texture, you will get that kind of coarse feeling over the top. So if you're funny with textures and things, my Christopher is a nightmare. That child, if he's got a tag on his clothes or an itchy spot or a rough towel, he's ridiculous. So I totally get when you don't like the feel of things. He is my mum all over. It's like she's been born again as a boy. But you can see here where it was sort of staying where the matte medium was, and here where it's come off, it's wicked out. But, and I'll put that lid on that. With the distress crayons, you can go over them. So these are a water reactive, and you can get ones that are even more water reactive than this one. Do you want us to clear some mess away off my desk? I'm creating quite a thing. So water on, and use your finger or brush or whatever you're comfortable with. Different ones, so you're not pulling the colour together too much. That one. Which one's a clean finger? And you're going to get some very, very cool backgrounds as well, and you will get more than one print from them. We'll pop that on. But then again, with your watercolour backgrounds, keep them. If you don't like them, keep them, because you can go back on your jelly paint plate with acrylics and then pull another print off, and you're going to get... I think it is a winky bear. I think it is winking. See? Even I put quite a bit of water on, but you're going to get a quite smooshed effect. And a different way to what you would as if you were putting it anywhere else. But you can go back over with your acrylics. Let's go on. That's wet. We'll put it down this way. So with your acrylics, and we'll go with a red, so it's nice and bright. Get down, don't leak. Right, that might not be as smooth as I wanted it to be, but you'll get the gist of it as you go, and you will find other ways of doing it yourself. What's easiest for you? Again, the jelly plate was still wet and things, but you still get another watercolour effect, and it still had some grey on. So again, another background. Add more flowers and a heart, or add a bit of fabric underneath, or one of your other prints, like a... That's a bit big. Let's find a smaller one. There. These dies are Thirsty Brush. Hand drawn by me, of course. Again, another background. Lift it up. A bit shaky. Bit of a mess going on. It's going to take us a week to tidy it up. I love it. Again, cutting them bits off, though, they won't be there. And again, it opens so many other doors for you when you step outside your comfort zone. Because for years, what I did was I bought the card kits and I snapped the toppers out, or I did decoupage and things, and all that is fabulous. I still love it. But being able to jump outside your comfort zone and do more, it's brilliant. And it opens up so many of the doors in the craft like world. I mean, last night I was playing with resin. I was splashing alcohol ink on top, which 10 years ago I would never have dreamed. Well, hang on, 10, 15, how old am I? Years ago I would never even have dreamed that I could do it. See, Jen, that is the best thing ever. I'm so, so pleased. Even if just one person whose brain I've got buzzing about colour and acrylics and getting messy and everything else, I will leave it there. You can come back and watch again. You can always send us a message on social media. If you need to get in touch with us and you can't get in touch with us via social media or anything like that, message Stamps by Me. Explain I've said to message, because I forget to tell them that when I tell people to message them. And just, if you've got need any help or anything in between the lives, they'll email us with your email address and I'll message you and say hello. That's fine. I just don't want to give my email address out on YouTube because there's some funny people about in the world. Not yous lot. We're the good kind of funny. They're the funny. But the thing is, it's not actually the jelly plate's not messy. It's because I've got stuff out all over because I've been shown so many different things. The stamps, I'll pop them in the sink or rinse them off and it's all good. My mat is always this colour now. I was tidy once upon a time. This is still tidy though. I keep this quite good. You can use MDF on your jelly plate as well. You can use fabric on your jelly plate. I've got a tube which I was going to use, like a toilet roll tube, kitchen roll tube. You can use that to make shapes. Use your die cuts, use your embossing folders. Endless. Anything that's going to leave a print, you can use. You can even use, if you've got an old shoe and you like the print on the bottom of it, and the shoes are going to go in the bin, make a shoe print. Why not? Fingerprints, beads, high beads on, and then sort of pick them off if you want. Big beads, maybe. Rice, put rice and things on and then lift them off. Air dry clay, if you've got something and you make an indent in the air dry clay, use that to make a print. Molds. I've got air dry clay here right next to us. I'll show you. Surprise, surprise. I'm just going to go with the purple again. So I've got quite a mess going on. And the air dry clay, I'll do one that way. So we're going to have the butterfly. And again, you can still use these after. And then don't be frightened to push in. And again, and I'll do it on this one. And you'll see the two different bottle tops. Exactly, everything. Get in the kitchen. As long as it's not sharp or hot, never use heat on your jelly plate. It stinks and it bubbles and it is not a good look. I tried. But look at that. How cool is that? And that's air dry clay in a mould. And you can still paint over that again to use it for whatever. So you could do a full background with them, repaint it and have it, I know it's these hearts, have a heart, have a feather, have a butterfly, and it would all match perfectly together. There's that one. It all blends seamlessly. I love it. I love it so much. Never end it. I'm never going to sleep tonight because my brain is going to be in overtime about everything I can do. Polystyrene. Rip your polystyrene and do that. I've used the COVID tests. If anybody was on Facebook when seen that, you know how the COVID test used to come with the polystyrene. I've stamped with that on the jelly plate. You name it. Go for it. Go wild. Have fun. Show us what you do. Email us. Email Stamps by Me to forward it on. They're going to love me in the office as if they're not busy enough. Everything. Go for it. Fabric. Oh my gosh. The bag I keep showing when I'm on Creating Craft TV. I keep using that. In case anybody else is coming in later on and is getting this far and haven't turned off, I'm Emma Blake. I am Thirsty Brush Unlimited. I've been doing craft TV for nearly 4 years. I'm obsessed with colour. My design, stamps, dies, thingies are all inspired in my weird little brain about things I see about us every day. The fun and the quirky, and come and see us on Facebook on the Thirsty Brush Facebook page and Emma's Happy Place. Have to get that in. I've been told. Don't talk about yourself enough, apparently. But orange net, yes, the oranges. I have bought walnuts today in the shell, and I'm going to try and get them apart perfectly because I've got a plan with them. Everything. That's got netting on though. So, clay as an embellishment in the background. Absolutely. Go crazy. Once it's coloured, you've got it. You can use pastes and things. I've used the pearly paste from Ink on it as a paint. I'm trying to think what else. Ribbons. Everything. Try it. You can hide in the sink and wash it with a bit of soap and water. Endless. Endless. I've had such a lovely time. I'm going to love yous and leave yous though, because you've got to be sick of us. An hour waffling and the mess is crazy. I can't even move my chair because I've had loads of stuff on the floor. I will be back here next Thursday, unless for some reason I end up at the telly or something. But if not, I'll be on Thirsty Brush Facebook page on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. I'm going to try and fit more lives in. I'm going to try and go in during the day and things like that. My house is very busy during the day, so if I do go live, then you'll just have to all bear with us because it's crazy in here. Like Christopher, there's Daniel. I've got Grumpy popping in now, wanting whatever. People knocking at the door because most of the neighbours just send the stuff here because I'm home. But yes, thank you so much for keeping us company. It's been an absolute blast. I've had a lovely time. I've got messy hands, which makes us very happy. I've got a messy table and I've got loads of prints to play with. Watch this space. The clearing won't take as long, honestly. Easy peasy. But anyway, I'm going to move this up a smidge and love yous and leave yous. Thank you. Good night.